Welcome back to the Tailosive Tech Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an event in just a couple of days. This is our final Hype and Predictions podcast. There will be predictions video, predictions stream. Are you pumped, Randy?
Surprisingly, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. A
little bit.
My expectations are tamed. They are subsided. They are tampered. Tampered. All right. Drew's sick and I can't talk. This is gonna be a fun episode. I am not expecting anything from iPadOS, which makes it already not a letdown come Monday, because I expect just heartbreak, and as long as it's not heartbreak, then honestly, if I'm being straight up, maybe a battery health indicator. I mean,
that'd be good. Yeah.
The Mac has it, iPhone has it, the watch has it, so
AirPods have it.
So yeah, that maybe we'll see that. I don't know. iPad, really not holding my breath. The real thing where I'm just a little on edge about is which one of us is going to be right, because I'm steadfast saying we're going to get hardware. I'm so adamant about it.
Yeah, you did. I think it's the leaks and rumors are leaning to your side at this point. I'm feeling less and less confident with my prediction as the days go by. But I don't think I'll be disappointed that I expected not to have hardware, and then if we end up getting hardware, then fantastic. But I feel like someone has to stick to their guns, so I'll stick to mine and say no hardware. But
yeah, I feel we'll see Mac Pro and whatever display that is going to accompany that. Let me ask you this: just humor me. We've talked about before, okay, but just now assume, as always, that I am right. Okay, humor me here.
Yes, that's how it goes.
Mac Pro is now announced come Monday with a new display, curved corners, ProMotion. Resolution is irrelevant. Curved corners, ProMotion, center stage, a well adapt FaceTime camera, unlike the fuzziness that came out of the studio monitor. Assume we get all those things, and it's because you and I love HDR so much, and all HDR glory just blinding you in the eyes, and everything that the previous monitor has, the XDR. Assume we get now just 2022 version of that. Say we get all the Thunderbolts in the back, but one cable to still plug it into the Mac, any Mac for that matter. Assume we get the dream specs out of that. Is there a realistic price point you are willing to compromise on and actually pull the trigger and get it? Because I know you'll do it for the right price, but where are you willing to compromise that putting my foot down on this price to say, okay, I'll spend this much for it, even though it's ridiculous? What's that number for you?
I think I've said it before, but the number in my head is still 3,000.
Hey,
that's what's. Oh, okay. We've got the same one.
Yeah,
that seems to be just the upper limit of like, okay, this is an accessory. This is not a computer. And this is going to sit at my desk. But I don't know. That's what I've said in the past. I'm wondering now if I should change that number, just because my iMac Pro has been pulled out of retirement. And it's now on my desk again. And my Magic Mouse, I keep connected to my MacBook Pro. But I basically treat it as a TV. So if I'm live streaming and I want to read the chat, I just bring it up on the iMac. If I want to watch a YouTube video, I just pull it up on the iMac, and it's got the great speakers built into it. So thanks to universal control, even though it's not really an external monitor, I kind of treat it as such. You know, I'm not editing or live streaming off of it, but whenever I'm in a situation where I just need more screen space than the MacBook can offer, I can just quickly move the mouse over and boom, now I can control this. So using the iMac Pro with universal control over the past few weeks has made me wonder, like, okay, how badly do I need an external monitor? I definitely enjoyed having the studio display for the sake of being able to edit, and it's just so much easier to chop up a timeline and have so much more to look at when you're editing on a big screen like that. But knowing how Apple priced the Pro Display XDR, I don't have a ton of high hopes for how they're going to price this one. Because there's some leakers are saying it's going to be 27 inches mini LED, and some are saying 32 inches. So my hope is that it's 27, because then they could justify a price reduction.
Yeah.
Like if it's a smaller display than the Pro Display and it's mini LED instead of this weird custom LCD backlit like the Pro Display was, we can fit mini LED in $1,000 iPads these days. So doing a 27-inch mini LED,
you can fit it on
without a battery
right
or anything.
Like it's cheap.
Well, yeah, you got OLED there.
You got
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you're right. It's OLED. Never mind. So what's the price then?
Yeah.
What's your new price with the assuming in your situation with the iMac Pro being out of retirement, then what would you then think your new price point would be for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Now I'm thinking.
Okay, while you think, let me try to catch you in a contradiction. Okay, while you think,
Please.
Yeah,
Please.
you use iMac Pro, fine, and that has 60 hertz, and you are not. You might be kicking and screaming, but you are not above utilizing a proper monitor where the situation dictates it, and you're not editing off of it. You're not doing things where you might be seeing the cursor moving around, but you are using it.
True. It's like playing videos and loading the chat. You don't really see
Right.
120 hertz.
You don't see that stuff. It's really not an issue. Just where it's like, I know you notice it. I know I notice it too. It's a non-issue. Because you are using your iMac Pro now as your support monitor, at this point, that tells me you accept, because you already paid for it full price, sure, but you accept it for what it is.
Yeah, it's a sunk cost.
What more do you really need to spend just for buttery smooth UI that is a non-issue? If it's so expensive to get promotion on the new Mac Pro display, doesn't that $1,500 sound just that much more appetizing then? Or even better, if you want to just continue using your iMac Pro as a side monitor, that's your prerogative. But you were just saying, I was going to ask you, but you answered my question. The studio display, it doesn't have your dream resolution or your dream refresh rate.
Yeah.
It doesn't have my dream.
It's basically the same panel.
It's the same panel, right? So you went.
Right.
You liked it so much, you pulled your iMac Pro out of retirement for it. Enough that because you already spent the money. If it's so expensive,
And the trade-in value is terrible.
and the trade, yeah, you listen. Take it from experience. It's not worth it. Don't ever do that.
Yeah, mine is. It used to be like 1900 or 1800, and then there was a slash when the Mac Studio came out, and now it's like $800.
Ooh,
for
which means you get more like
the 2 terabyte.
$200 worth out of it. They'll offer you $200 out of it. Then.
Yeah, that's probably what they'd offer by the end.
Brand new, no damages.
And we tried to sell it.
Yeah,
we tried. We posted it on several places, and no legitimate offers. I think the best offer I got was like $1,000, and I was like, I'd rather keep it for that.
It's a
not
it's
worth,
a good
departing just for the SSD space alone.
That's what I was about to say. It's a good local storage for you. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Which local storage is kind of important these days.
Did you ever see any updates on the iCloud thing? You haven't tweeted anything or follow-up video. Any updates?
It hasn't changed. It still says your iCloud is full, and I still get the pop-ups, and there's still no way for me to delete these ghost files. They're still
Apple
just hanging out there, and I can't get rid of them.
Apple, what are you doing,
man?
Why are you like this? Tell you what, WWDC, all I want to see from Apple is fix that. You know, I was gonna say
Fix that one thing.
I was gonna come on here and tell you guys, our listeners or viewers, what Drew and I were complaining about. You know, offline here. FaceTime is absolutely atrocious with group calls. There has been years of this now, ever since they introduced group calls. Mm-hmm. You guys might remember for our old time, our OGs here. Me, Drew, and Nick were ecstatic to finally get it, and it's never been friendly to us. It's always given us issues. Today we had another issue. We could hear Drew, he couldn't hear us, and da. Long story short, we're running through Discord
Which is also weird because that's like a privacy concern almost.
It is.
I'm on a call. If it was like a work meeting or something and I thought, oh, it's not loading, and I said something bad about Randy and Mike and they could hear me, you know, I would have thought, oh no, they can't hear me. So I just start going off on something. But yeah, it's been years of us trying to make this work, and
my mic.
We're talking through Discord today.
Yeah, my mic can't be picked up on FaceTime, so unfortunately, that means I can't have a proper live. Like, hey, can you hear me fine, Drew? We always have to run off the camera's mic. This is what he hears me on for FaceTime. Discord, smooth. Don't know what the difference is. Why that's the case? Don't really necessarily care. The point I bring to this is that FaceTime does not, quote unquote, trademarked just work. It's terrible. It's been terrible. Yeah. And I am tired of saying that, like, hey, give it a hope, give it a chance. I just wanted them to fix it. But now, no, I have a new request. Strictly from my BFF Drew here. Fix iCloud. I'm not even saying offer other storage options, configurations. I'm not saying different price point. I'm just saying fix it. You know, just fix it. If everything's the same,
it's unreasonable to me that you can have files count towards your cloud storage that you cannot access. How messed up is that? Like, I can't delete them. I can't view them. It doesn't show me where they are. It's like, it's one thing to have a software bug. It's another to have a bug that results in a pop-up telling you to spend more money. And I get the feeling, okay, maybe not everyone has the same bug as I do, but what if that bug of ghost files and documents that you can't access and you can't delete are pushing someone over a certain iCloud limit, and that's why they pay extra. Like, oh, I guess I'm using 80 gigs, so I better pay for the 200 gig plan because 50 gigs won't cut it. And what if there's like 30 gigs worth of ghost files in there? And you actually could be on the 50 gig plan, but because they don't let you access it, it's the principle. I hope people understand that. Like, we're not going to save our finances or be able to travel more or do anything by cutting out $3 a month or $1 a month. That's not. It's the principle of annoying someone out of their money. Basically, you make a feature or you make the cloud storage so confusing and annoying that people just don't want to deal with it, so they just pay for it. They're like, I don't want to think about it.
It's the 16 gig iPhone all over again.
Yeah.
By the time you got these files you can't move or whatever, and it eats up so much of it, you're not getting 16 gigs worth of storage out of your iPhone at that time. So, but to the point where it's like you're not even getting 5 gigs of iCloud. Okay, assume Apple or whoever you talk to. Bless you. That scared me.
Thank you.
That startled me. Assume whoever you spoke to with Apple is correct, and like, just give it some time. If it's in some purgatory state for the next 30 days until the file is deleted, because that's just how their servers work, they'll do a complete sponge of the whole thing and get rid of everything. Okay, that's still 30 days. That's a billing cycle. You know, that is something where
it is.
You're still on the hook for something. Maybe if you were switching iPhones and they give you unlimited clouds, you know, for that time being to transfer, maybe that fixes it. But it's still, that's a billing cycle. And I get what you mean about the principle of the thing. I take principle stances too. it is a choice to pay for iCloud, but you shouldn't be bullied into paying for iCloud. That makes a sour taste on my tongue. Then that's not cool.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Not at all.
It's not that we can't afford it. It's just the concept of pushing someone with a bug into paying more for something is just, that's stupid.
That's one step worse than getting annoying prompts. Hey, try News Plus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get Arcade Plus for 3 months. Let's make it 4 months. Just click this button. That's annoying, but it's not bricking you from utilizing the rest of the phone. It's just Apple trying to make a sell.
Right.
Whereas this,
which is
could brick you.
Kind of annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is annoying.
Yeah. Now iCloud features don't work when you're out of storage. There's some things that just turn off. You know, like iCloud Mail and that kind of thing. Luckily, I don't have much going to iCloud Mail, but if I did, it would be even worse than this scenario. But do you think that, let's diving back into DubDub again?
Yeah.
Do you think that either this Monday or at least in one of these DubDubs, they're ever going to update the iCloud storage options further? Or do you think this is what we're going to have for the next decade, is 2 terabytes for $10 and 4 terabytes for Apple One?
I could see an update, but maybe not in a sense of dollar to, gigabyte type of thing. I could see an update where they integrate their services the way Office 365 integrates their services, or Adobe integrates their services. I can see it more pushed towards the Apple One plan, where you can maybe custom build your services. Okay, you don't want News Plus or whatever, then you can adjust your package as such. And I think that was their way of kind of playing around with it, the way Nick is paying $20 a month for 4 terabytes. I cannot. That is $40. Oh, I know. I can't. Maybe as a business that's making, millions a year, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, sure. The tax write-off, not as a $40 for that. And I know Nick's situation is different from ours with his photography and stuff like that, but like, you really have to be committed to the ecosystem in a way that is almost like a prison. It feels like a prison, and you have to pay for that prison. And that's too much. So to be more on the nose about your question there, I'd say I could see an update coming where they'll increase the storage. Maybe they'll roll over a 4 terabyte for $20 or whatever the next. I don't know the prices, but I could see maybe them adjusting, only because the Photos app takes up so much as is, and we're not slowing down.
Right.
We're not slowing down with the camera.
No, now with ProRes.
Yeah. If we are getting an iPhone with USB-C just for strict data transfer speeds, I could see iCloud upping their game a little bit, and we pay the premium for that service. I can see that. Maybe iCloud will offer a feature where there is something that's tailored for iCloud storage, for iCloud Photos, because you toggle that on in the settings. Maybe there's something that's exclusive to that. I can see something. Basically, where I'm getting, I can see something working in favor of Photos because of the camera hardware and the software that's going with it, but definitely the hardware taking up so much data now. It almost feels like it's needed, unless Apple's like, looks like you're gonna have to pay 2 terabytes then. Like, I mean, that could be the case. I just don't know. I don't know if Apple's not hurting for that money, so I don't see them making that be the hill that they die on. This is where they put their foot down. That's the line in the sand.
Because they definitely position the iCloud tiers in order for you to get a lot more than you really need. That's why the jumps are so drastic. It's like, okay, if you use more than 5 gigs, then you got to have 50. And if you use more than 50 gigs, you got to have 200.
Yeah.
And then the biggest jump is, okay, you use 205 gigs, you better buy the 2 terabyte plan. And I think the logic with that is once you pay for it and you have all that extra storage, you will very easily fill it up.
Yeah.
Before you know it. It's meant to be this kind of slippery slope approach of, oh, you used a little bit more, now you got to up it. And they eventually want everybody doing what Nick's doing, essentially, which is 4 terabytes and $40 a month, and you have all their services.
I would love to have Nick as a customer for life.
Oh, yes.
Apple should maybe make an enterprise version of iCloud, and to my knowledge, they don't. It'd be cool if they did, because then there's that could fund the infrastructure a little bit more. That doesn't have to fall on us as the individuals to do that. But I agree with you with that. Like that jump is so drastic on purpose, which is why I never paid for 2 terabytes, and I don't plan on ever doing that. I capped it at 200 because I was like, 100. I owe, for the last 6 or 7 years, I've sat around 100 gigs, and I'm like, that's my sweet spot. I know how to adjust accordingly to make everything kind of live in that realm. And when they updated the type of file to be that high efficiency one, it saved more space. And I was like, all right, that's cool. But for me, it's like if there was a 100 gig plan, I would have paid for the 100 gig plan, because that's about more in the comfort I am. But them upselling it totally makes sense. But there's some things are starting to feel a little dated, like lightning cables feeling dated. Some things are just not keeping up with what they're driving. Apple focuses so hard on their cameras that I think not only does the hardware need to adjust with the data transfer speeds, but it also needs to adjust with the cloud services as well. This is all assuming we're getting a USB iPhone, because if we keep increasing the efficiency, now everything is default ProRes or RAW and HDR and ProMotion, cinematic, but they do all that. They just kind of keep clumping it in together, and you can go in and edit after you film. You do all that stuff. If that's Apple's focus point on phones, then, and it's selling. I'm assuming it's working for the Pro users, because these iPhone Pros are the one that's getting all those new stuff first. Then tailor everything else around that infrastructure or that ecosystem. I'm on favor of Apple obviously making a dedicated camera. We've talked about that, but they're not going
1,000,000%.
Imagine them doing that. That would fix so much problems. I wouldn't have but I think that's the thing. It would fix up a lot of problems that they have solutions for. I wouldn't have the iCloud storage.
And I feel like it would overlap a lot with their current customers.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people that are always like, do a gaming Mac or bring AAA games to the Mac. Is like, I don't think there's that many AAA gamers that are buying Macs. Like that. The demographic that spends thousands of dollars on their PC to play games, they don't like Apple hardware. They want to be able to build it themselves. They want to take it apart. They want to RGB it up, and Apple is never going to do that. Apple's always going to try to make it integrated and soldered and not repairable, and that's just Apple's way of designing things. I don't think there's much overlap. Like, sure, they could spend billions of dollars for exclusive titles, but I don't think they would get their money back on that investment. They wouldn't see a number of sales that would equal to billions and billions. They get their enough gaming money from the mobile. They actually make far more money than the AAA gaming companies just from mobile. However, the number of Mac buyers out there that also are buying cameras, lenses, microphones, I bet it's huge. I bet it's like 80% or something like that. Like some insane metric of Mac buyers are also buying cameras and stuff, and we know based on how Apple has designed iPhone cameras how good they are with very limited hardware in terms of photography and videography. Like we've seen on the computational side and on the hardware side, they can do some amazing things with these tiny lenses. So if you gave them free reign to make a dedicated DSLR, but bake in AirDrop and bake in Apple Silicon for the fast read and write speeds, and there's there's so much sense to it, but again, everyone's just gonna come back to that. No, the iPhone is the camera, But
it's a good point and shit.
That argument doesn't.
But Apple, you know why we're always so fixated on cameras? Because Apple positioned themselves before iPhone, before how creators create today. We're the company for creators company.
Right.
Windows was the
for music.
Yeah, you want to be Windows was the you want to be able to get to your file, or Linux, like you want to customize your experience that we're giving you the option to customize whatever you want. Same thing with building your PC. You want to customize. Apple always positioned himself as like, if that's not your thing, but you like to create this or that. If you're an artist, everybody's an artist with their camera. Assuming the photos are not vulgar, you look at people's camera rolls, it gives you an insight of what their personality is like, who they are. If you look at mine, you see a lot.
For you, it's Star Wars memes.
That or I'm a dreamer because I like to take photos of nature and skies and interesting angles and depths and stuff like that. Yeah, for, like a lot of people, I do have a meme folder though. I love my memes. But you want to get to know somebody's personality type. You want to see what type of creator they are, what type of artist they are. With the camera side of it, like you look at the camera roll, like what's important to them, their family, I would assume, for people in that field. But all that to say that like we're so fixated not on the RAM or the GPU, CPU. We're fixated on the actual device itself to help make that creation come to life in whatever art form that you operate in. Right now, YouTube is the reigning factor there, but there are musicians. There are people who love their iPad Pros for drawing. I really wish I was a good drawer or I could draw, because that I am not using the most out of my Procreate or any of these apps that I have. I wish I was so good with that stuff, but thumbnails and cover art might be my barely there. But people just make such beautiful like art and stuff like that. And Apple always pushes it. It's in their advertisements. I mean, Steve Jobs famously said it. We're at this intersection, this crossroads, like all this stuff that's baked into Apple's like infrastructure at the core level is why we lean in so hard on that, which then in turn does turn to like, hey, we might need better iCloud, or we might need a better port to transfer our videos or what have you. But we focus in on that instead of the customization of like, I want to spec out this, RBG thing or anything like that, stuff like that. But with that, I would say we find ourselves working with these blinders on, where if we could just drop them and I'm trying to think of an example outside of YouTube, and it's really hard to. Maybe I'll lean into somebody out. One of our listeners could give it another example, but you and I have openly said that, like, wow, imagine having an iPhone type of style dedicated camera where we can film on these things and stream. Oh, if you could stream all these, all the cool functionalities that you could do artistically with not like cinematic mode and things that we're not even thinking about. Imagine if we actually had LiDAR put to use for some capacity of rendering or what have you. I would love to see dedicated products for that kind of maybe cannibalizes itself in another department. But until then, we got to fix iCloud. We got to fix the lightning cable. We got to fix those things too. If the iPhone is supposed to be a master of none but a jack of all trades, and it's so close to looking like a master of a few, if that's where we're at right now, then everything that encompasses that is like fix FaceTime. My God, like we do our FaceTime most of the time on little things like that. It's so close, but I always feel like that's the ever growing issue that we have with just technology today, is that There's little bugs. I'm not looking for big features anymore, unless you're going to make a camera. I'm looking for just touch-ups. Better iCloud services, or get rid of ghost files, fix FaceTime. Let's have a faster port. I don't know. Widgets. I don't know. I'm reaching here at this point.
Did you... Sorry, Discord's a little delayed, so our responses aren't always... But at least it works. FaceTime wasn't delayed. It just didn't connect the call whatsoever. But did you catch the report about realityOS, like that trademark being filed? And
I did.
And how a lot of people were convinced that... Well, I mean, I should say that while some were convinced the announcement will be on Monday, everyone who said, no, it won't, said it is in development, though, and it'll be announced like early next year, that kind of thing. I don't know if I'm alone on this, but I just have I just feel like the weird opinion of, I don't think I want a mixed reality headset, especially from Apple, because I know it'd be expensive, and I know that you couldn't wear it on the go because it's too weird. It covers too much of your face. It's not going to be something like an Apple Watch that you can just wear in public. It would be like living room toy. It's like you use it in your office or in the living room, and you laugh at people when they run around with it because they look funny. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of different directions Apple could go in, and that's not what I'm particularly excited for. Obviously, the glasses would be far more interesting, but I don't see the point in going with the AR headset first, or VR. It's really more of a VR. But
my first thought is, just because the trademark is there, Apple does that all the time for things, so they don't have to buy companies out or just use it anyway and then get sued and then just settle outside of court. You know, like it's Apple will do a lot of things that never come to fruition, and it's public knowledge strictly because for legal purposes it has to be, but not everything not everything comes to fruition, and it's them maybe playing around with something as well. So this realityOS, maybe we'll see it, not Monday. If we do, I will be... If we see it on Monday, we're not having an hour-long keynote. We're having like a 2 to 3 hour long. I don't see that happening. To be honest,
there'd be a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I don't feel like Apple. Okay, let me say it like this: if we do see it Monday, that is not a product I would be interested in, because it's going to be so Gen 1 that with Apple Watch you could see that. Oh, okay, it's pulling from the iPhone. Is iPad, same thing. It's taking traits from iPhone. Certain things have like, okay, I can see what they're doing. Gen 1 AirPods is like, that's an extension of what the EarPods were at one point. There's a easy like trail that got to that point. Here, at no point were we going, or at least on the end user side, are we like logging LiDAR data. If we are, and maybe we are, maybe I'm not reading the fine print, but if we are, there's no indication that anything that I'm doing on my phone is going to aid towards a VR or AR headset. So with the patent part, I don't think it's happening Monday, just because I don't think I think it would just be so out of the blue. Everything else that's ever been a Gen 1, you could see it didn't go too far from the path. HomePod. This thing is like AirPods, but better. Yeah. Oh, you know, I mean, like
that was at WWDC. I was trying to think of like first gen products that were announced at WWDC. Apple Watch was with the iPhone.
Yep.
And AirPods were also with the iPhone, but the HomePod was at WWDC.
Yeah.
Even though it didn't ship for like 8 months.
It didn't stray too far from it, you know. iMac Pro was announced technically, but then it's like it's just a beefed up iMac. Okay, cool. You gotta bring in a whole new product with a whole new OS and a whole new everything that doesn't. Or you need to be close to something that has AirDrop capabilities on. Like that feels like a very big stretch. Maybe it could happen, but I just don't see it happening on Monday. Okay, so that's the realityOS comment. In regards to being alone on this, Drew, I don't think on a personal level, I'm more with you on it where I don't see a use for it. But on a bigger scale, I'm like, no, it makes sense. This is their gaming headset. They should make a dedicated console. Well, here you go. You know, you got Apple TV. What goes great with Apple TV? Headphones. You could put it on and watch Apple. You could do your own little thing, play games, do your whole mobile app experience, and there's a whole new section in Arcade Plus that has nothing to do with anything except VR or AR or whatever games and stuff like that. Some people are fanatics about this niche market. Is it ever growing? Maybe it's growing, but ever growing? The hardware is getting cheaper. It's not $2,000 to get a headset anymore like it was when Oculus came out. I might be embellishing. I think it's closer to like, $1,400. But the point is, it was a lot of money. And
well, there's a lot of like the $200, $400 Quest headsets now that are all independent. They don't hook up to a PC or anything. And I've tried them. Again, it doesn't feel that different from Google Cardboard. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah, I do. I remember you could do it on your phone.
Slide your phone.
Yeah, or not on your phone, but on YouTube. You could put it on YouTube and hey.
Right. That's what it felt like. It's like, okay, you took the smartphone display and put it into a headset, and then you sell these little controllers. And there's a couple games, but it's all like Beat Saber and that's
Beat Saber's the popular one. Yeah. You can have like that Minecraft one that they always push too, is about trying to you could be in Minecraft and stuff like that. Huh?
Was it Minecraft Earth or no? That was an AR thing.
No, I think
they had a VR version of Minecraft or something. But I want to give credit to a very obscure reference that most people probably won't know. But Rich Evans from Red Letter Media. He used to be he used to have a gaming channel called Previously Recorded, and they retired from that, and I'll never get over it. But he brought up an amazing point about VR on one of their streams that I'll never forget, and I'll always think about whenever we talk about VR games, and because that's all really I can think of you doing with this headset, right? It has to just be gaming. Well, like what else? Maybe Apple Fitness Plus could have little environments for you to be in.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
That's still a stretch because like you probably wouldn't be able to see the weights that you're holding.
You need to pair it with your AirPods. He's more machine than man now. I am what you made me.
But before I forget, what Rich Evans said. Oh, sorry.
Here. Mr. Drew here is
what Rich Evans said.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I'm full of bugs, just like FaceTime. But the biggest issues with VR is motion, movement, and contact. When you're wearing a pair of goggles or something with a display, even if you try to put cameras on the outside so that you can see through it, still, even then. You can't move around very much, otherwise you're going to run in and bump into things. Or you would literally just look like an idiot if you were in public wearing that. It's not like a wearable like AirPods or an Apple Watch where it can just be passively worn. No, everyone's going to look at you weird and think you're crazy if you just walk around with that headset on. And the other issue with VR is contact, as in if you're sword fighting or lightsaber dueling, you can't get my arm to stop when the sabers touch. Or if you're punching and you go up to a wall, you can't get my fist to stop. I can go through everything. And that's why, even though VR has been a thing for a while, and there's been a lot of VR games, and there's been a lot of creators that have gotten really innovative with VR games, it's still not replacing keyboard and mouse or controller games, because you can bypass those issues with a keyboard and mouse, and with a controller you can move around as much as you want. You can have a large expansive map, and you can fight, and you just get kind of the taptic feedback, but your character can stop when it hits certain things, and it can feel the blades clash. And that's why Beat Saber's fun, and there may be a lot of people playing some, Half-Life Alyx or something on VR headsets, and they're really impressed by that. I've heard a lot of great things about that, but it's not replacing or surpassing the success of Elden Ring or Breath of the Wild or Halo or the Call of Duty franchise. Those are still the mainstream. That's what most is going to be.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm confused by this whole concept as a whole of Apple entering that space. I was like, why would they want to compete with Meta? Is Meta making a bunch on this?
I think that we are not thinking of a different use case that's applicable here that Apple has thought through, maybe, possibly. And I do say possibly because it could be a failed attempt. I don't think they're trying to compete with Meta necessarily, like in the sense of harvesting your data. But
right.
Okay, here, let me give you a different example. NFC was around before Apple Pay, but no one was using it. And it was
not much.
Not like that. Apple Pay came in and changed the game with it, where it was cool to do it. And we had contactless payment with our some debit or credit cards for quite some time before that too, before NFC. But at the end of the day, the technology was all the same with the contactless payment. But Apple Pay elevated it, just maybe because of the brand power. Not really sure, but Apple found a way to be like, here's how we're going to do this because it's safer. You won't get compromised. I get weirded out when I give...
There's a lot of examples for that, too. The Apple Watch made smartwatches popular. AirPods made wireless earbuds popular. And there was always earlier versions. There were wireless headphones before AirPods, and there were smartwatches, but then not in the mainstream. So I get what you're saying, that maybe Apple could mainstream...
But not just in the gaming sense, though. Like specifically, I wanted to focus on that technology because it's even on the Apple Watch. It's on your phone. You could just do it maybe online as well. But online is actually just a software thing. It's like one paid checkout process. But that technology then expanded to bus passes or transit, unlocking your car, unlocking your front door. It became a type of key fob, a proxy card, because of that technology. And in 2013, I would have never thought of any of that. I would have not gone out of my way to, I'm gonna get that. Never would have thought of that, ever. Even though the technology already existed, like, nah, that's weird. Hey. What were they doing? They were bumping? Wasn't that their thing? They were bumping, and that's how they shared photos or something or contact. Like, nah, that's too. I don't want to do that. Apple found a way to make that a thing, or now with Apple Card. No, not Apple Card. Apple Cash, where you could beep and you could do your NFC transfers that way too. So they found a way to expand it. But
well, they just made iPhones support Apple Pay now.
Yeah, so you have all that where the technology, though, at the root level of what it was just that NFC hardware, that tech right there. And it's obvious, it's not obvious, but it's clear to see how that was planning out now being in it for so long. But back then, I couldn't see it. And I see maybe whatever they do with a VR or AR, whatever headset, hopefully is like that, and it's not Apple TV, because Apple TV is behind. You know what I mean? Like, it could be very well be another Apple TV where it technically still exists today, but it's not. It's the hardware
or
of
another
Apple News
HomePod
Plus.
or AirPods Max.
Some things are just like it's there, but you're not driving the cost, and you're really focusing on it. I would like to see it be more expanded upon the way NFC was. I wish I had a better example. I would have loved to give the same example for AirDrop, but AirDrop is proprietary. It's a cool feature, but it's still proprietary in that sense, where here Apple waited for that industry of the headset market to mature and become cheaper and to see what everyone else was doing with it. And then they decided to jump in, if they do jump in. And that's what they always do. Like you just said, Apple Watch wasn't the first. All these other things weren't the first.
Apple's basically never first to anything that I can think of. maybe the personal computer with the Apple One, but essentially outside of that, there were MP3 players before iPod. There were tablets before the iPad. There were smartphones before the iPhone. Apple's never been about first. It's always been about approachable, the refined version, so that we can bring all this tech and organize it and bring it to the mainstream. So that's a good counter to my... Because you're right. Before Apple Pay, I wouldn't have cared about NFC. I specifically remember when the newer iPhones were coming out, people were like, but they don't have NFC like this Galaxy phone. And I was like, who cares? Like, whatever. I don't need NFC for anything.
Right.
Now I'm like, oh my God, NFC, I use that every day. How could you, like, there was some watch, I think it was a OnePlus watch or something. There was some smartwatch that came out a year or so ago, and I was like, wait, it doesn't have NFC? That's ridiculous. So Apple's mainstreamed it. Apple's worked its way into my daily life to the point now where I need it. But on that note, here's my question for you. Is there a price in your mind for this headset where you could justify it, or do you need to be, like, swayed? Like, are you in the position where if it's just a gaming thing, you wouldn't spend $1,000 on it or $2,000, or does Apple need to show you some example, I don't know, virtual desk environment where you have the biggest display you want and spatial audio for having devices in different parts of your virtual office? Or, like, does Apple need to show you things to convince you this is worth it, or are you kind of somewhat sold on the idea?
I think no amount of showcasing will sway me from wanting it, because how many years in a row did we see AR presented at, like, these keynotes where they were showing, and just through your phone you could see this, and look, the Minecraft is built into it. I remember or here's Star Wars, you go fight Darth Vader. It's not for me. I guess I would say they need to sway me. I'm not sold. I'm not convinced, and I definitely won't do it for gaming. I'm not a mobile gamer. I try to be. It's not my thing. And the mobile games that I buy, the ones that I have bought, are just old proxy games from the original Xbox, like Knights of the Old Republic, best Star Wars game ever. Like, I'm playing nostalgia game, or it's all nostalgic games here. Clash of Clans is my longest going one, and that requires very little attention or effort. So anything in the Clash universe, Clash Royale or whatever, that minimum effort. I use
passive gaming.
I don't want to. I tried to do the more active gaming. Like I did Duel Links or one of the Yu-Gi-Oh games, and I'd play with my friends, whatever. And I'm just like, I don't have that type of time anymore. Like, I realized that, like, it's cool if you're in the moment, but I don't have that. I don't have that ambition. I don't play Pokemon Go. I'm probably the only person in my vicinity of circle of friends, wherever I go and I visit. I just went to go see family this past weekend. When I go see friends in Texas, when I go back home or go to NorCal, everyone's always on Pokemon Go, and I'm like, I wish I was that hooked. And I've tried, and it's not me. I've just, my lifestyle, I guess, changed. So in that same aspect, the headset isn't for me, and I accept that. Now, if Apple's like, but
that's how I feel too.
We can now give the headset and give you this virtual desktop of things, or your virtual office, or say the headset helps you visualize something that's audio based only. I'd be like, okay, let's see what you got.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, I would love to see a visualization of some audio stuff, but I'd be willing to look into it. But doesn't mean I would buy it or keep it. So I would need to be swayed hard.
Amazon renewed. For sure. even then, I think I'm not a gamer like that, really. My games is Minecraft whenever I have time, and even then, sometimes it feels like a chore. I don't like wasting time anymore, and a lot of games I play these days feel like I'm wasting time unless there's a clear objective. Like, I don't like endless games like Minecraft. They're fun to be a time killer, like if you're on a plane or something, but games I play, there's an objective. Like, I like playing Breath of the Wild or The Last of Us, Halo,
there's a clear objective in the game, and it's not wrapped. It's not in that sense. It's also passive. I just jump on whenever I have time. I don't have to get on
and those are storytelling.
Exactly. You don't have to log your points every day to get this thing so you can unlock this. All these mechanics that are needed for you to get on daily just so you can get hooked. I don't have an addictive personality like that, I guess. It's not for me. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I can be swayed.
The thing that is still confusing me is the Bloomberg report on it said that they want to make it like intentionally niche, like a multi-$1,000 headset, and I'm just like, this does not really like align with anything Apple is doing right now. Like they clearly haven't given much effort to gaming. I mean, they set up the App Store and they let devs make games, but making dedicated gaming hardware? Barely. I mean, the Apple TV is as close as you got, and that flopped. That did not become the gaming platform they wanted.
Yeah.
And there was talks for years that they were going to make their own controller and this A14X powered TV. Never happened. That I just think something's off here. I think I've said this before, but I'll reiterate it for the podcast, is that I'm convinced Apple is developing a mixed reality headset, they call it. It's really still VR at the end of the day. It's just a VR goggles with cameras on the outside so that you can see through it if you need to. Ultra wide lenses, tries to emulate your eyes best it can. But I think they're making this hardware so that the realityOS team can prep for AR glasses in the future. Because the glasses, I think, are totally different. That's completely different product with a way larger addressable market. Like if it's something that people can wear in public all day or most of the day, just like you wear your AirPods or your watch, and it can be used for far more than just gaming, that there's a crap ton of potential in that. You basically can put 3D holograms anywhere you want. You can put screens anywhere you want. You can totally redesign how you use your phone if you have holograms. Like that will enable so much, but I just am convinced the hardware's not ready. But Apple wants the dev team to have something to work on. And the idea of them selling this headset for, I think Bloomberg said like $2,000 or $3,000 or something. I was like,
no way.
Who would buy that?
No
way. I don't even think $1,000. Even if it was way better than the Quest, who's gonna buy a $1,000
Xbox
headset?
And PlayStation don't go for, or they shouldn't go for that. People might try to, price gouge. They price gouging if they can't get their hands on it. No way. That's so out of league. That would have made more sense if they would have tried to do it a couple years ago. Like I said, the tech has gotten cheaper, and everything's got a little bit more efficient with it. If you wanted to make a high-end, good resolution, surround sound, spatial audio, blah 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 blah. Okay, maybe back then, but now. No, I didn't even think about the price, because you did ask me about the price. $2,000, I couldn't even. If I got $2,000 to spend, it's going towards a monitor before it goes towards a VR headset.
Heck yeah,
yeah.
No, for sure. That's why it would have to. I would buy Apple Glass, for the record, if it literally did what I think it could do and just put screens anywhere, and it sends notifications out from behind your device. Like, you're adjusting the volume on your phone and the volume indicator just comes out from behind the phone. If it did all that kind of stuff, easily I'd spend $2,000 or $3,000. I guess I wear glasses now. I would just become a glasses guy. Because there's so much potential with that, and there's so much I could imagine Apple doing with AR glasses. But the headset is so severely limited in its capability and use cases that I personally, like you, need to be swayed. They would need to convince me why it's a good deal, and you can't just say it's fun for gaming. Because, for one, I've played a few Apple Arcade games. I don't have much faith that they would come up with a really great AR game that's worth spending. Just buy our $1,000 headset and then subscribe for $5 a month to access it. No, I'm sorry. I'm not into that. That would not sway me to keep it, at least. I'd happily try it out for the sake of a review or to just give people my thoughts on it. But at the same time, I kind of want Apple to be more risky, because I feel like ever since Tim took over, everything is very calculated and very strategic and very safe. They play everything very careful, and they don't do anything too drastic anymore. And I would kind of like to see what would happen if Apple had more of that startup feel to it. If they were just like, you know what, we're gonna do a camera, we're gonna do it's not startup, but an Apple TV stick, or we're gonna let the iPad become more than just an iPad. I want to see them take more risks and kind of question what devices can be, but it just feels like they're very set in their ways of like, no, this device is this device, and that's all it can be, and the services are the future, so we're pushing services. So I guess I should give credit and try to not be hypocritical in that if they did do a $1,000, $2,000 headset, that would be very out of the norm. I don't think it would be very safe. It's not very.
AirPods Max was a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That was risky.
Yeah. HomePod was risky. Yeah.
It was, for good reason. It was a big flop.
You know what? Don't talk about it until it's ready, because I think the last time they tried to get risky was AirPower, and we all love our new AirPower mats.
That was very risky.
Yeah, it was a little too risky.
Probably the riskiest part about AirPower was telling Phil to say, no one else can do this, but our engineers have figured it out. That was words that should not have been said.
How quickly did he go from employee to Apple fella? Then afterwards, like, I'm gonna just take my
not
stuff
a reliable
and go home.
track record.
No.
Yeah. His Apple track score went down after that. Phil Schiller, 60%.
Oh my goodness! I think it's definitely more lucrative when they play it safe, and in some capacity of it, you definitely have your security blanket. But effectively, that's what smartphones have become. They're so predictable that you have to bend them to make them somewhat newsworthy. Even then, it's only for fanatics and stuff like that. I don't know if
that's why I still think Apple should do it. I'm not trying to say an Apple Foldable would be a good idea. I just think it would be interesting. Yeah. I think it would be fascinating to watch Apple's attempt at a foldable. After trying several, I was like, I want to see Apple do this.
Yeah. How would you
switch
differentiate
to a
this?
foldable over my? Just like mix it up. Try something.
Be risky.
Try something weird.
Be risky in the sense that it's not going to hurt your bottom line. Like, iPhones are still going to sell just fine. Regular iPhones. Not even talking about the Pros. Just regular iPhones will sell.
Apple would probably outsell all other foldables too.
Yeah, they would.
Because Apple customers are far more comfortable shilling out $2,000, $3,000 than the Samsung fans are.
All in the name of doing business as an Apple sheep.
Yeah. Like the number of hardcore Apple people that would buy a $2,000 iFold or whatever, Apple Fold, I bet that would be like 3 times as many people who buy a Galaxy Z Fold or something like that, Yeah. I should say on the record, though, I went to a wedding last week, and 2 people at that wedding had foldables. One had a Z Fold 2, and one had a Flip. So I stand corrected. There are other human beings that actively choose to buy foldables. I'm sorry.
But at the same time,
I used to think...
Only my mother-in-law? Out of necessity?
Yeah, I used to think that just Randy's mother-in-law was the only person who bought the Flip.
I would say at the same time, though, you and I, we talked last week about. I've been thinking about it actually since you told me it too. I was like, man, that's true. People are more than happy just using the bare basics, and if you have a digital zoom and all that. Hey, don't you want to use my cool new my iPhone Pro? This, that. They're like, no, just use my You and I will have a certain.
They would rather take the picture themselves than airdrop it.
Yeah, we have an expectations of a certain quality control when it comes to our cameras in that scenario, or in our experience, our UI, and most people are just like, can I call my kids? Can I browse the web? Can I take this photo and zoom it in? It's like, oh, it's pixelated. Like, what do you mean pixelated? He's right there. I can see him. It's like,
I can see him. That's his face.
But it's so soft in the face. And I was like, no, just take the photo. And it's so true. After you told me, I thought about that, and then I started just looking around at the people around me. I went up to go see family this past weekend, and I was looking at their phones. I was like, wow, you guys do not care about this stuff. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever, it's fine.
That's what the tech community is all about, is slowly realizing nothing matters. That's what all tech is. No, I mean, like, I was in that camp myself because I was watching Marquez's video on the new Sony Xperia.
Yeah.
That has the optical zoom, not the digital zoom.
Yeah.
Where the lenses physically move. And he was like, now you can retain all of that sharpness no matter what you're zooming in on. And he compared it to the old one.
Right.
He said, partial digital zoom and this one's optical. And I looked at both and I was like, I can't tell. They look identical to me. And I'm sure it's partly YouTube compression and it's partly, what I was watching it on. But at the end of the day, I was like, I consider myself very techie. I mean, look at my wall. I mean, I'm a very techie person. And I looked at the two pictures and saw no immediate difference. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Does that help? I was like, so he's like, I can't wait for this to show up on more phones. And I was like, yeah, right. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's only $1,700, but I'm sure they'll find a way to bring it down to the iPhone 14.
The realization that none of it matters. Because at the end of the day, we fixed what we needed a smartphone to be. We fixed it to reliable connectivity. Can it make calls? And who's calling these days? It's text messages is our form of communication, really.
Who gets texting the easiest? That's who wins.
Yeah, that's it. We've everything else is just a plus, a bonus, and in that sense, I would recommend the iPhone SE to most people. Then, if they were like, I just need to do, well, if you just need to do something, certified refurbished, get yourself the cheapest thing you can find, and as long as it gets
I would say Amazon 10R or Amazon 11 is like $400, $500, and that's way better than the SE. So.
Oh wow! Yeah, get the. Ooh.
I would push that.
There's so many people I know right now who still have the iPhone 11. You know what's funny? iPhone 11 is the iPhone 6 or 6S. No, I think it was the 6. iPhone 11 is the one that's standing its ground the longest for non-Apple or non-tech enthusiasts that just want to use a phone. I have very close friends right now that are happily just going through their iPhone 11. I look, it's like, doesn't that LCD screen bother you? The battery, you have to charge it in 20 minutes, and they're like, it's fine. It's okay.
No, they got the crucial features down on that one. It was a lower starting price, night mode, and a longer battery. And that was like the holy trifecta. You got the good night mode performance, so the Pixel people can't brag too much, and you've got
the holy
longer battery life than you used to, so it'll last you a long time. You can own it for years, and the battery's still pretty good. Yeah. And it's got the Face ID, and it was cheaper from day one than the 10R was, so that was just like perfect storm for a super cycle. Everyone loved that one.
That's the phone right now that's going to stick around, I think, the longest out of people I know who grabbed that phone. And I know, honestly, no exaggeration, IRL, at least 10 people, easy. I can count them. I was like, man,
me too.
Because then I count. I was like, which one do you have? Because you could just tell from the shape, like that's an 11. And you can see the camera.
It's got the two cameras.
Two cameras.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's an 11. What? When did you get that phone? I was like, oh, when it came out. And my mom would have gotten that phone, but the 10R was she didn't care about the cameras. She was like, no, I just care about the battery and where can I save money? I was like, well, then technically 10R is cheaper right now. And she went with the 10R. But she's not a photographer or anything like that. So that the battery thing is, she's home, she's retired. She's home. She don't do nothing that doesn't involve being away from a cable.
I'm in that same boat, to be honest. I did not upgrade to the 13 for the camera at all. I thought the 12 mini camera was great. I did not run into situations where I was like, oh, I want the telephoto. It was like, I was amazed by how good the 12 mini camera was. This was all a display purchase for me.
I'm more vain than you. The 13 Pro Max was all about the green.
Yeah, it's all about the green. But you also have described it as I bought it for a camera that also is a phone as a backup.
Yeah. I think, honestly, going back to what we talked about not too long ago, if Apple made a dedicated camera, I would look at iPhones completely different. I would get the smallest, miniest 13.
Mini.
Yeah, that I get my hands on. Because the dedicated camera is the only thing I care about. I am not above packing for two things and one of them being the camera then at that point, because I have my ecosystem with me still. And Apple would do a thing where it's, Apple's going to amplify it. You don't need the big, bulky lens. That's the weight of the camera. They will do the thing that Apple does where it's like, oh, it has a nice little camera bump. No different than what we got now, and you just.
Yeah, we have a huge camera bump.
We might just have more dedicated actual tactile buttons. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can work with that.
Yeah, right.
Adjusting apertures. Take that, Sony. Here's your actual zoom, things like that. I would not be above taking the camera with me because most of the time, 80% of the time or more, it's in the house with me right now than just like everything else. And when I go on these trips, sure, because I know I'm going to take photos of the sky or something like that. So it's what I do. But honestly, you're right. That's how I look at the phones. It's a camera that happens to also send messages, and
there's a little texting feature on that camera.
That's it.
But yeah. Before we go, I want to do some lightning round predictions because this is our last episode before Dub.
Let's go.
And we've gotten sidetracked easily with the camera. What price will the Mac Pro start at?
What's the current Mac Pro?
$6,000.
I thought so. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say 5,000.
Oh, it'll go under. Wow. Even with the Mac Studio? You don't think
No. Mac Studio will, for bundling it with the Mac Studio. Oh. Whew. 5,000.
Like Mac Studio starts at 2,000, specs out to 8. So Mac Pro, I'm predicting 8,000. I'll throw that on the record.
No. Ooh, okay. So you don't think this is going to be, I think this is going to be overlap. Yeah, 5,000. That's my, like, so 490. Okay. 4,995 before, that whole $5,000. I say 5.
Okay. You think it'll be smaller than the cheese grater?
Yes.
Okay, it'll be smaller. And you're predicting we'll get colorful MacBooks, right?
Did I say that? No.
I think at one point you did.
Did I?
New MacBook Airs.
I thought we would have saw them in spring.
Oh, okay, that's right.
I thought springtime we were getting it. Yeah, no. I think this is strictly the conclusion of the transition to M1 or Apple Silicon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, whenever those colorful Macs come out, do you think they'll have black or white bezels?
I think
just in case they launch on Monday.
Okay. If we got them on Monday, white or gray or whatever that color is. Not black.
Dang it. Not black.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I think they're gonna try to get the they want to bring back the OG MacBook Air had white bezels and nobody really complained at the time. And again, you and I, those products aren't for us. So they will make it colorful.
Those are cheap laptops.
Yeah, I'll say okay. It has the same design language as iMacs right now.
Matching with the atrocious 24-inch iMac. But there was a more recent report today saying iPadOS 16 would get floating window support. Do you think that's going to happen, or is that fake?
What does that mean?
Just like a Mac, how you can have windows moving around.
Oh. Ooh.
Like multiple apps open multiple windows running.
Do I think it's fake?
iPad. Do you think that'll happen on Monday?
I hope it will happen. I'm not expecting anything but bloated iOS.
That's fair.
I don't want to set myself up for any hurt. My heart broke so bad last year. I'm still not over it. I would love to see that happen. I'm not expecting a lick of UI change. I am expecting it to get even. They took away our Today view thing that we had, and ever since then, I have just
take away something.
They'll take something else away. They just love hurting us. That's what I expect. So no, I'm a pessimist with iPadOS.
Now you can only have 4 apps on the home screen instead of 16.
Yeah,
it's just 2.
And you get a limited home bar like iPhone as well. So now you can't even have that cleaned up.
Ooh. Here's an interesting question for the lightning round. How much time do you think they will spend on iPadOS?
30 minutes.
How much stage time?
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Okay, wait.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
The worse of the features, the more they like to drag it out. So I'm not expecting anything new for
it'll be like reminding.
Yeah. Yeah.
iPadOS has quick notes.
Yeah,
which are great.
We cleaned it up. Now you can drag it from the top right. Control center has moved. Blah blah blah. They're just moving stuff around because they have to fill dead air and sell it. Right. The less I expect, the longer they drag it out to make it look like it's more important than it is.
Wow.
Scribble now works on what? Yeah, I don't care. That doesn't no.
I don't care. How many Apple TV Plus trailers will we watch on Monday?
All of them.
All of them. 30 minutes.
Well, yeah. Good morning. Apple TV OS is nothing but trailers. That's what we're getting for TV OS. Nothing but trailers.
Now let's talk Apple TV.
I think
Ted Lasso.
We'll see Morning Show. We'll see Ted Lasso. We'll see Scene or whatever the Foundation. We'll see sequels, more sequels to series, and something with Tom Hanks.
Something
maybe
with Tom Hanks.
Maybe Morgan Freeman if we're lucky.
I'm trying to think of more lightning round questions.
Okay, my turn. I got one for you.
Wait. One last one for me. Do you think iOS 16 will change the low battery warning to a drop down instead of a pop-up that shuts off the whole screen?
Ooh, I did see that.
I've been asking for that for years.
I've been seeing that concept float around the past couple of days. I would love to see that happen. Nothing needs to take up a full screen on anything. If phone calls don't do it anymore...
It should never do that.
Never. No, there's nothing that should take up a full screen. Not even AirDrop. Yes. Nothing. Literally nothing should take up the full screen. Waste of space. Poor use of space.
Using the phone would be so much easier if AirDrop was just in the background.
Yeah.
Instead of stay on the screen. Sorry, we're limited on time. You can do your lightning round.
Anything that hijacks you continuing using the device while something else is happening is a waste of space. So
yes.
Background. Okay.
Agreed.
iOS 16. Where is the cutoff? Where does it stop being supported?
Oh, that's a great question.
I know. That's why I asked it.
Oh, you know. I think iPhone 7 will get it. I don't think they've ever cut off 2 generations in a row. Maybe they have, I just don't remember. But I think it'll be iPhone 7 and newer, but it won't count iPod Touch. iPod Touch 7th gen, even though it has the A10 chip like the iPhone 7 does, it's underclocked and they don't want to optimize for the 4-inch display. And the iPhone 7 never had that. So SE1 is gone, 6S is gone, A9 chip and below is gone. So, yeah, iPhone 7 and newer. That's my guess.
All right, macOS. What's the name? Is it Mammoth? Because that one's been trademarked. What is it?
Yeah, they have.
Or is it?
I guess that's an easy guess.
Or is it a case like realityOS where they just patented and that was it? This is the final California themed for 10 years. Remember? They said we got 10 years worth of California themes.
I always wanted weed. macOS weed.
Conclusion of the story, our crack marketing team. The conclusion of the 10-year story arc.
Yes. Screw it. Yeah, I'll say Mammoth. macOS Mammoth.
Mammoth.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the only one I saw credible.
We would have seen another trademark by now, right?
I think so. Yeah, so Mammoth. Okay. I had one for wait. Oh no, pressure. Got seconds left. Give me a second. Hang on.
Was it Pro Apps or?
No, my heart's broken, man. I don't believe it. That's not a thing.
Yeah, I don't believe Pro Apps.
I had it. I had the Mac. I had the iOS. Excuse. I do remember. WatchOS. Are we getting customized widgets or customized faces? Is that a thing finally?
Oh, like third-party watch faces.
Third party? Yeah. Are we? Is that a thing to sell? To sell the latest and greatest? Works on Apple Watch Series 7 and later type of a thing.
It's only on the new one.
That's right.
We really, really should, but I have a feeling if they haven't done it now, they probably have some reason that still holds up. So I'm going to guess we won't get it, but there's been a low power mode that's rumored, redesigned low power mode that I'm interested in to see how long they could stretch the battery life. So I think my predictions, that's going to be the headlining watchOS 9 features, like super low power mode, but still delivers some texts and stuff. But no, not third-party watch faces. Okay. Sadly, as much as I want it.
Last question.
That's my guess. Okay, this is it.
We have a full packed event, but we have one more thing.
One more thing.
What is it?
I mean, I don't think there will be hardware, but if they did a one more thing, I feel like the Mac Pro would be it, because the software is expected. It's a developer conference. That's typical. But the Mac Pro is the last chapter in this Apple Silicon transition. They have already confirmed the existence of it. The last two Mac Pros were unveiled at WWDC, so if they do a one more thing, that would probably be it. But I'm trying not to get my hopes up. I'm trying not to expect that to happen. Oh. And it'll start at $8,000.
Okay.
Mac Studio is now sitting where the old Mac Pro used to sit. The trash can Mac Pro is like a $2,000 to $8,000 Pro tower, and they don't want those two desktops to overlap each other. So I think the heavily binned base configuration Mac Pro will be $8,000. If you want a non-binned, it's going to be like $10,000, $12,000, something crazy high. Hey, if you need more power than the M1 Ultra, you're going to pay anything to get it.
I forgot this is my genuine last question. What is the maxed out spec Mac Pro? What's that priced?
Oh, that's a great question. The old one was like 55, 60,000 or something.
Yeah.
The new one, I'm going to predict less. I don't think it will max out as high. But it'll still be crazy. I'll predict like 40, like 45,000.
I was going to say 40.
With all the RAM.
Yeah.
So affordable, so reasonable.
Mortgage or a computer?
All right.
A car, a Model 3 or a computer? Yeah.
It's a close
call. All right,
call.
I accept your answers.
But...
Sold.
Okay. Well, this will be the most dated podcast ever in just a couple days.
All right.
So we'll see.
I'll see you in a couple days.
We'll see who's right. Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
See you on Monday. Bye-bye.